We agreed that the board member would not come on the ask with me. He would stay home.
Wow. Hi, this is Peter Heller, and I'm here with another episode of Outrageous Fortune. Today I'm in Westfield, New Jersey with Amy Eisenstein. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for having lunch with me and my team out here in this. Why don't you tell us a bit about what you're up to and what you do?
Yeah, so I am excited to be the co-founder of the Capital Campaign Toolkit, and it's an online platform for organizations wanting to do their own capital campaigns with a roadmap, support, and guidance.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm actually a member. I think I was one of the first members.
I think you were.
Yeah, and with my good friend Andrea Kilstead, who you're collaborating with. And
yes.
I really admire what you've put together for nonprofits to help with their capital campaigns.
Thank you.
And as you know, we're here today for you to share an outrageous fundraising story. And I think you gave me a little hint on something that you might have to share with us. So
yeah.
I'd love to hear what it is.
Yeah, so one time I was getting ready to ask a donor with a board member of mine at an organization that I worked with. And the board member wanted to ask his friend, the donor, for $5,000. And I thought we should ask the friend for $25,000. And after discussing it for a while, we agreed that the board member would not come on the ask with me. He would stay home, and I would go ask his friend for $25,000, which the friend gave.
So
you're speechless.
You're
speechless.
That's amazing. How did you get a board member to actually agree to not go along to see their friend? That must have been a little scary.
I think he was actually relieved to be let off the hook to some degree. I mean, even though he was happy to help with the fundraising and happy to introduce me to his friend and had cultivated the relationship, ultimately when it came time to ask, he didn't want to upset his friend or ask for too much. He wasn't sure what to ask for, and fortunately, I think he had enough trust and faith in me that he said, okay, I'm not going to ask him for $25,000, but if you want to, I'm going to trust that. And so I always like to say that my big lesson, my big takeaway from that is that it's just as easy to raise $5,000 as it is to raise $25,000. So you should always ask. Go for it. You've got mostly nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I want everybody to just let it sink in for a minute that you actually got the $25,000 gift.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's really phenomenal.
But listen, I had done my research. I wasn't making up numbers. I knew what this donor was capable of doing, probably significantly more than that. But for that first initial ask, at the level of engagement he was at, that was what I thought was an appropriate ask, and he gave it. So it was part luck, but a lot of research and background work too.
Yeah, so you can basically call up your board members and say, stay home today.
I've
got it covered.
Yes. I mean, my other big lesson learned is you want board members out asking with you, the ones that are good at it and the ones that are comfortable with it. The rest of them, I want helping with fundraising in lots of other ways, like introducing me to people or cultivating people, helping with stewardship. But let the board members who don't want to do the asking, let them stay home.
Yeah. I love that story. I have one more thing that's kind of percolating in my head about it, which is a lot of times board members want to ask their friends for the amount they're comfortable being asked for by their friends' organization. So I'm wondering, have you seen that? Do you think maybe that was going on in this particular situation or just in general?
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, a lot of board members do express concerns about reciprocity and being asked by their friends' organizations, but I try and emphasize that it's about what the donor wants to see accomplished and what kind of impact they want to have on the mission. And so really, you shouldn't be thinking in dollars. You should be thinking about what kind of impact they can have, how many families they can shelter, how many people they can educate, how many arts programs they can put on. So, when you ask it in that way, say, would you like to help us shelter 5 families this year? Or would you like to help us provide scholarship for a student? Yes, okay, that costs $25,000, right? So
I love that way of looking at it. Yeah, I try to encourage people that maybe I should even have a T-shirt that's, ban no arm twisting, right?
Oh, yes,
arm
for
twist. It's kind of
sure.
the opposite. What you're suggesting is the opposite of really putting pressure on people. It's really to encourage them to have impact on organizations.
That's right.
Thanks again. That was a really great story.
Thanks.
And we've now come to the part of our episode where we play a few little fundraising games.
I'm ready.
All right. So the first one is bad asking.
Okay.
And as I told you before we started talking, there are questions in this envelope. And you get to pick one and ask me. Let's just see what happens. Because you have a lot of fundraising experience, you can use this as if it were a solicitation.
Can I have your wallet?
Yeah, sure. I bought it recently. It's pretty nice. It's nice leather. What would you like to do with it?
Okay, I don't know.
I'm being too cooperative.
You are being too cooperative. You're supposed to say no, right?
Okay. No,
All right.
right. Like if you were on a solicitation. Hey, that's a really nice Picasso you have on the wall.
Right,
Can I have it?
that?
Or can I have your wallet?
Right,
You're rich.
right.
Can I have your wallet?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness.
As you may know from our Outrageous Fortune episodes, we do a little game at the end of our shows. Today's game is the Heller analysis. We have Freud and his couch, hand puppets. So I think you might have a fundraising or capital campaign story or question, challenge to share with us, and we'll put it through the Heller analysis.
Yeah, I think
these
that's a
guys
good
kind of
idea.
just going to sit on the sidelines as the Heller analysis happens.
Let's dissect this. Yeah?
Yes.
Well, I think one of the most frequent questions, there are so many actually, but let's talk about how to identify a campaign chair. I think that's something that stumps a lot of organizations. So what would the Heller Freud say about that?
How to identify a campaign chair? Would you accept a campaign couch?
I would not accept a campaign couch.
Okay.
What do we do if we don't know
wanna-
who should chair our campaign?
Yes, that's a great question. So I've often been in a situation where we start working with a nonprofit and they've already selected a chair, and I'm like, I'm not sure that's the right person. But let's say that hasn't happened. I think there's a handful of criteria. One is they have to be a natural leader.
Yeah.
Another is that they have to make a stretch gift of some sort to the campaign.
Yeah.
And that really depends on the organization and their own capacity. They may be a great community member and their gift is actually not the highest gift you're going to get, but they're really able to go out there and ask for gifts from other people.
Yeah.
As a chair, they have to be willing to solicit. No questions. Other people on the committee may not all solicit, but the chair's got to be willing to solicit, which means they have to have time to solicit. And they can't be a shrinking violet.
Yeah.
We love shrinking violets for all their capacities to do other things, but not as a campaign chair. And then I'd say the last thing is, I alluded to, they need time.
Yeah.
They need time to be able to do all this.
Yeah, let's go back to what you suggested. When you get to an organization and they already have a campaign chair that maybe isn't the ideal campaign chair, what do you say then?
Problems get deeper and deeper. A few things. Well, I actually, in every situation, there's no campaign where this is like a double negative, no campaign where I've not suggested 2 or 3 co-chairs.
Yes, that is
So-
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking co-chairs, right? You can deal with all sorts of issues that way because you have one person who's strong in certain areas and another person who's strong in other areas. So, yeah, I think for all your campaign chair challenges, find a good co-chair.
Beautiful. So thank you again. Thanks for joining us.
My
Freud and the
pleasure.
couch say goodbye and thank you. And happy fundraising.
Happy
And this has been
fundraising.
another episode of Outrageous Fortune. Thanks for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe. Get your free major gift tools at hellerfundraisinggroup.com. What's your outrageous story? Write to info@hellerfundraisinggroup.com.